What's going on, everybody? Day two. Actually, it's not day two, it's really day three. Day three of the fast. Usually, I will have broken my fast at this point. In fact, this is now officially the longest I've ever gone without eating food. Starting to feel kind of some stomach pains right now. Um, Shit doesn't feel good. I have to admit, I did have an Advil earlier today. I mean, that really helped me with my presentation, talking a little bit about incorporating faith into your entrepreneurial endeavors. So that went surprisingly well, actually. Usually, if I'm off of coffee for about 2 or 3 days, yeah, it just doesn't look good. Just get really choppy. But apparently, an Advil helped, so that was interesting. I want to get in the habit of taking painkillers. But we're over here in Chicago right now, kind of a beautiful spot in the city. But yeah, I don't know if I officially broke the fast by taking painkillers, but I'm gonna call it. Said it was okay this time around, just not get into a habit of it. But yeah, no food, no coffee. Um, what else? No, nothing. To spike the dopamine at least. Nothing to get me anything too excited. Yeah, I think that my body's finally adapting. Last night I didn't sleep at all. I slept between 8 p.m. and midnight. Woke up and then was hanging out with my girlfriend. And I finally fell asleep again about 6 o'clock. I was supposed to get up at 6 o'clock to prepare my presentation, but I took a shower and I was just so exhausted after the shower. I went right back to bed, slept for another, 5 hours. So that was pretty dope. But fast has actually improved dramatically after that second sleep, oddly enough. So I don't know if that's a good structure or not to kind of follow that matter, but I felt way more rested after that second rest, and that was super helpful. I'm going through this book right now, The Purpose Driven Life, by this pastor Rick Warren. I'm not typically a religious guy, but I'm someone who does feel kind of absent of his purpose, not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing, and yeah, I'm good at a lot of things. I got a 140 IQ apparently, or at least that's what Mensa tells me. I finished top of my class, went to an Ivy League school, and I pretty much excelled at most of my endeavors. Worked in a Fortune 500 company after graduating, and then eventually working for what I do now, which essentially was a dating coach for a little bit, and then I transferred over into being a mentor in the areas of entrepreneurship, markets, real estate. So that's been it's been pretty fun. So I've been pretty high performance, but I still feel like pretty directionless. So I made the decision to get this book, and as a means of finding purpose. Now, I'm not a God fearing Christian by any means. I was raised Catholic, but I kind of separated myself with that after my mom died. But yeah, I don't know. There's something, I think there was something that called me to do this longer term fast, and I kept seeing this 40-day thing happening, and it was with all people that just something brilliant and unique was revealed to them at the conclusion of that 40 days. And I think that that's really interesting. I haven't heard too many stories of people actually doing that in the modern era. So I'm actually definitely curious to see what actually happens if I do go a full 40 days without eating, without caffeine, without any sort of nicotine. Yeah, I'm not a smoker, but I do smoke cigars every now and then. Without alcohol, without vitamins. Kind of broke that just a little bit with the Advil, but for the most part, kind of staying away from it. It's just water and salt, and I've been having salts with this because, from what I understand, um, that's the difference maker between life and death here. Maybe that's a little extreme. I'm sure plenty of people get along well without having salt in their water, but still, it's a useful thing to get the electrolytes in because I'm not sure how many electrolytes are carried around in my adipose tissue. So I think that this book would be very useful to kind of finding more of my purpose. I know that I'm generally a good speaker in front of audiences. I have a penchant for combining things. My study was in cognitive science back in university. Studied cognitive science and statistics. Worked in a lab that focused on neuroeconomics. That was cool. But I just have a good penchant of just like combining things together. I'm sure many of you might have something similar to this. Just they call it integrative complexity. Basically, you're very skilled or talented at combining two different ideas together. For example, kind of taking the idea of a catalyst from chemistry and then reapplying it to, let's say, a catalyst in your own life. With that, it typically requires some activation energy. And then with that activation energy, it does create an opportunity for two elements or compounds to come together. And but it couldn't do that without the activation energy, or fire can't start without that activation energy. So I like to think, okay, where else could we apply that? Probably if we're going to start a new project, if we're going to start a new business, or if we're going to start a new endeavor. It might be in your workplace. You want to go get a raise or something. Like, that's cool and everything. But to do that, you have to do something which is very elemental in nature, which is probably we're going to be putting a lot of energy into it for the first couple of minutes, maybe not first couple of minutes, but rather the first couple of days. And then we're going to find ourselves in a nice little habit. And then we're just going to continue that habit, and that'll be a part of us. And that's kind of how it works. That's the role of willpower. You got some willpower, so you have enough energy and um, energy and self-control to turn something into a habit. You apply a little willpower for the time being. You do it for a couple of days in a row. All of a sudden, you have a habit. You wake up, and all of a sudden, you don't need energy anymore because your body's adapting to that new situation. So that's pretty neat. But let's see if there's anything else to talk about. But yeah, going through this purpose-driven life, trying to figure out what I'm good at. So integrative complexity. That's a big one. What else? Everyone here has an important talent, and I subscribe to the belief that everyone has a role to play on this planet. And some people don't find that role, and they end up in a suicide's grave, and that's tragic. It's dramatically tragic, in fact. Everyone here, nature isn't so wasteful, economically speaking, to make someone on this planet and not have a purpose or a role for them. I think everyone has a very important role to play. And I like to pick something that really sits with me, that really, it's something that I can look backwards and say, you know what, I was undecided then, but little did I know, I was doing all of the preparation that I possibly could to go get the role that I'm about to play right now. I don't know what that is, but I do believe that role is chosen. It's just a matter of me finding it. Maybe there's 10 or 12 roles that were chosen, and it's just a matter of me finding one of those. But whatever the case might be, I have a pretty good sense of what I'm good at, but not entirely sure if I believe in myself here. So hopefully this fast will reveal something to me that I didn't know from before. I'm really hoping that there's something useful that comes out of this. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of another one of my silly endeavors. But this is Thomas, and signing out for day 3.